Hola, fight fans. I am Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and I'm joined by a man who is on the doorstep of making history at UFC 256. On that night, in the main event, he will face off with UFC flyweight champion Deiveson Figueiredo, looking to become the first Mexican-born UFC champion ever. And that man hoping to hear at the end of the night, y nuevo campeón del mundo, the man, the man known as the Assassin Baby, aka my guy Brandon Moreno. Senor Asesino, bebe, thank you for the time before this massive opportunity.
Man, how many hours do you need to study that word?
Just 3 seconds, cause of Google, baby, Google.
Technology, 2020.
Yes, exactly. The one of the rare good things about 2020. Now, the 2020 has a chance to be a great year because of your title opportunity. So I have so many questions for you and so many things to ask you. But first, I wanted to, at the UFC 255 press conference, Dana White surprised everyone and said, you know, a title fight with you and Deiveson was already in the plans for a few weeks down the road. That was not expected, considering how they passed on you not once, but twice. So how far before he made that announcement did you know that was the plans for the UFC? Were you told, like, right after your win that it was possible on that night? Were you maybe told if Perez or Figueiredo made it through their fight healthy that it was a chance? Or when we all heard it, you heard it for the first time too?
Man, that fight happens, like 5 minutes after the fight between Figueiredo and Alex.
Mhm.
Literal was very, very fast.
Yeah.
So I was, obviously I was surprised because everything was really, really fast and
Yeah.
more. Dana White talking about the fight after the fight, the post conference.
Mm.
But man, it's the opportunity of my life.
Yeah.
I can change my life with this fight. Deiveson Figueiredo is healthy. I'm healthy. We are in shape. We are ready to give this fight to the people. And it was very necessary for the company because first Amanda Nunes against Megan Anderson was out.
True.
And then Peter Yan against Aljamain Sterling was out too.
Yeah.
The UFC needed a main event for UFC 256. And here I am, the Mexican kid against the angry Brazilian.
Now, I want to talk of some Mexican stuff right now before I get to the fight itself, because Henry Cejudo recently did an interview and made some interesting comments about your title fight. He said, I think he's going to have a hard time and may potentially even lose to Brandon Moreno. All you have to do with a guy like Deiveson Figueiredo is make him grapple for that first round because he's cutting a lot of weight. By the time that second, third round hits, he's going to start having that heavy muscle. So I'm actually going to pick Brandon Moreno, which he sucks too, but I'm going to pick him to beat Deiveson Figueiredo. First, before we get to the whole sucks too thing, I wanted to get your thoughts on what he said. Do you feel that strategy does make sense against Figueiredo? Is there some truth in it? Is there some accuracy in it? And have you thought about it yourself leading up to this fight?
First of all, I take a shower every day, brother. Definitely. Okay? No, brother. I mean, I'm happy for his words. I know Henry Cejudo in the past. I working with him for his fight against Yusir Formiga and the first one against Demetrius Johnson. He's a nice guy. He's a humble guy. He's an amazing people. Obviously, he's in his character like Triple C.
Yep.
So his character can't permit don't say I want Brandon Moreno winning the fight.
Yeah.
He need to say something like, he sucks, blah. And I understand, he's in his character and it's fine. But yeah, it's actually he gave me like a good advice about the fight.
Okay.
I need to be focused in my game plan. Sorry, my game plan, and don't depend about his performance, about I don't know, his cardio or his how he lose weight. But if that happens in the fight, in the middle of the fight, I mean, good for me, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be focused in my game plan and my fight.
Now, going to the idea of that whole comment he made and stuff like that, and I agree with you 1,000%. It's a character thing. But let's say hypothetical. I know we're taking a few steps ahead. We have a big fight coming up in a couple of weeks. But let's say, a hypothetical Brandon Moreno versus Henry Cejudo title fight. Is that kind of a fight for Mexican fans? Almost like when Oscar De La Hoya fought Julio Cesar Chavez in boxing in the 90s. It seems like it'd be a massive fight for combat sport fight fans, for Mexican fight fans.
Maybe, man. I don't know, man. I don't care. He say he's retired, but he's always trying to make appearances in social media.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I don't care. If it's necessary in the future, we can do it, I don't know. I just want to fight against Deiveson Figueiredo, be the next flyweight champion, and that's it.
Fair enough. Now let's talk this title fight coming up. I know fighters in a division watch each other because there's always that chance you could be fighting someone down the line. You want to look at them a little bit. How long have you been sizing up Deiveson, and have you kind of visualized the strategy for a fight against him a long time ago, even well before you ever even signed any kind of a contract?
Man, I think I saw all his fights in the company,
Wow, okay.
I think the first one was actually against a Mexican, Marco Beltran, his first fight in the company. Then he fought against Morales, I think so. He fought against John Moraga, against Formiga, Jared Brooks. I think he lost against Jared Brooks. So I've been watching his fights all his career in the company. His last fight, actually after his loss against Joseph Formiga, he looks very impressive. Fighting against Tim Elliott, against Joseph Benavides, fighting against Alex Perez, obviously. So yeah, I've been watching his fights in the last years.
He only has one loss in 21 fights. If you could point to one specific thing, one area where you feel he has like a legit weakness on a technical level, like what would it be? Does he get sloppy in his stand-up and leaves himself openings? Does he do things in scrambles or grappling you are just maybe excited to exploit? Have you seen, when looking at him over those years, seeing all those fights, you go, yeah, why didn't that guy take that chance right there? I know I would if I get that chance.
I mean, I think he looks strong, His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is good. He has really good reaction to get the submission,
Mm-hmm.
In that point, I think he's the same like Brandon Royval,
Okay.
He take the advantage if he leaves his arm, if he leaves the neck, he has good reaction. He's powerful, especially his right hand. But I think he depends too much of his power,
Yeah.
So what happened is some guy had the necessary cardio and the necessary technique to move around the cage and do something different, against him,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all the game plan for this fight, but it's something maybe I can work. Maybe.
All right, fair enough. Now, speaking of power, I'm glad you brought that up because after his title defense last month, he had this to say about you. He said, I think I'm going to destroy him. If I touch him, I'm going to break him. Just touching him. Because Brandon Moreno, he talked a lot of bad things about me. I have a personal problem with Brandon Moreno. Now, everyone respects Deiveson's power, but only half of his wins are knockouts. This isn't Anthony Johnson or Francis Ngannou now. This is, he got power, but this isn't crazy stuff now. While you, in 23 career fights, have never been stopped once. Your losses are only by decisions. So simply put, is he either underestimating how tough you are in a major way, as well as maybe overestimating his own power, or is it a little bit of both of those things?
Man, he definitely underestimated,
Yeah.
Um, I don't know why he say that, I think he's lying, I think he's trying to sell the fight.
Okay.
That's it, It's weird because they all I trying to remember all my conversation with him in the last months,
Yeah.
like 3 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
before the fight against Corey Garbrandt.
Yeah.
And I say just like, man, I don't like his attitude. I don't like that guy because he's very like unrespectful
Yeah.
with Joseph Benavides, because he doesn't make weight, you know
Yeah. Yeah.
and he was like very happy, like be like a like uh, like a uh, like a bad guy,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Um, and I say just that. I mean, if he's angry for that, he's very emotional, very emotional. But I mean, again, to be honest, I think he's trying to sell the fight. He's trying um, to sell tickets. I know everybody can watch this, He's saying like 2 or 3 words in Portuguese, and his manager saying like 50 or 60 more words than this.
Okay.
He's trying to sell it, and it's fine for me.
Yeah.
For me, it's never personal, brother. For me, it's
Yeah.
never personal. I just want to fight for the title. I don't care if he's the champion of other guys. I just want to change the life of my family, and that's it.
Speaking of emotional, and we talked about a bit about this in the last fight, in that you felt when you came back to the UFC after you got released that you wanted to fight angry. That fighting angry has helped you. But, and me and my girlfriend, while we're watching your fight with Royval, my fiance, we're watching your fight with Royval, you looked extra angry when you were coming out. Like, there seemed like even more of an intensity on your face when you came out. Am I thinking it too much? Were you like a little bit even more hyped up because of the disrespect, like passing on you twice? Or was that normal asesino bebe angry?
Man, just imagine all my bad moments. First, UFC given the fight for the title to Cody Garbrandt,
Mm-hmm.
then take Alex Perez. They disrespect me too much.
Yeah.
At the same time, the pressure to fight against a really good Brandon Royval. He looks impressive in his last fight.
Yeah.
So too much pressure, too much emotions. But I think I can like take separate my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
To for example, talk with you and stay very calm and,
Yeah.
and stay like relaxed talking with you, and then stay really focused and angry and in the fight.
How do you then how are you going to channel that anger for this fight? Because there's a lot to be happy about. You finally got the title shot you want. You're going to get a good payday and stuff like that. There's a lot to be happy about, but there's a lot of life and career that has led to this moment. A lot of struggles. I remember we even talked about one time, you talked about how, there was a time where you had money issues and stuff like that. And, you had to go through a lot. Like, what kind of things are you going to be using mentally to fuel that angry fire so you go in there and become the next champion in the world? Are there certain things you're thinking about when you go in there against it? Or is just him talking stuff about, oh, he has a personal problem with you is enough?
No, actually, that I don't care that. Get the victory, be successful, be the first 100% Mexican champion in the UFC, represent all my country,
Yeah.
Not just my country, all Latin America,
Yeah.
That motivated me too much to get the belt that night.
Now you went 3-2 in your first time in the UFC, and then they released you in the spring of 2019. We're friends. Be honest with me. Did you feel confident even then that you could get back to the UFC, reach the heights that you are now at, or did you have doubts back then when you got released? Did you kind of need to do some soul searching and rebuild into the guy who has gone 3-0-1 since he's come back to the UFC on the doorstep of being the first Mexican-born champion in UFC history? Did you have doubts back then, or you even back then when you got released, like, I know I can be world champion, I just have to have these things come in front of me?
Now, to be honest, maybe before to go again to the UFC, no, but in the moment when I go back to the UFC Octagon and make my first step in the Octagon,
Yeah.
I knew I can just at least do something better,
Yeah.
in my second chance in the company.
Yeah.
Now I mean, that's why I think the people feels very emotional with my history, because my life is a roller coaster, bro. I'm very young, but I have
Yeah.
too much histories to talk with the people. So I think that's why everything is so amazing and so magical in my life.
Now, taking nothing away from Cain Velasquez, because he's Mexican through and through. The guy has the brown pride tattoo on his chest. He's Mexican. I get it. But as a man born and raised in Mexico, who still trains in Mexico, how big is it for you, for your country, to make history on that night? Have you felt like a different sort of support from back home and just Latin America in general in the lead up to this fight? I remember when I talked to Jan Blachowicz before his title fight, he said he felt something different in the support and the interest in Poland before that title fight. Have you felt a different support? Are you getting your Instagram DMs blowing up, your phone blowing up? What's it like for your parents or your wife, your kids? Like, what's that all like leading up to this right now?
Man, I think that the most easy example is social media. No, right now my social media is crazy. I have a lot of message from a lot for Instagram, for Facebook, all that stuff. But to be like an example for the people, for the people who's trying to do something in this sport,
Yes.
and watch Brandon Moreno and say, hey, this guy did it.
Yeah.
Why I can't do it? Obviously, I can do it. I watch like the support of the people in social media and all that stuff, and they look at me like I don't know, like really representative of the Mexican blood, of the Mexican style that never stops. You always trying to hard work for his dreams. That's made me feel so happy.